Hey everybody, it's me, Andy.
And I'm Sean.
And this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, O-Kagachi, the big brawl.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Commander's Brew. Episode 111. We're all ones today.
Palindromic episode.
That's right. The first one since 101, only 10 episodes ago.
And I guess we'll get one every 10 episodes.
Yes. Yeah, hey everybody. Sean.
Yeah.
What's happening? How are you doing?
I'm great. I just am on 2 back-to-back 3-0 drafts.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's a big deal. If you've been watching our streams, if you've been checking us out on Twitch, you know that we're not exactly 3-0 drafters consistently, right? We're not winning. We're not crushing drafts, but we're getting a little bit better, I think.
I think we have chances to do 3-0s, but we're still learning to play a little bit tighter because as Commander players, you know, we get to play a little bit loosely.
Yes, that is true. That is definitely true. We get to loosen it up. You know, we're in a multiplayer setting. It's usually our buds. Maybe you got a couple beers happening. Anything like that. You can't. That's not how it rolls online.
Not how it rolls.
That's not how it rolls on Magic Online, man. It's tight. You got to keep it tight and right.
I think so. And it occurred to me on the league things on MTGO that there's only 3 weeks left. This league expires in 3 weeks. That's how close we are to Ixalan. It blows my mind because I already am starting to miss Hour of Devastation draft. I love this draft.
Yeah, I got to say, I've come around on it. I didn't love it right away, but now I'm more like, okay, this is pretty good. This is pretty fun. The decks are neat. But I am very much looking forward to Ixalan also.
I am, but man, how many great Commander cards did Hour give us?
Quite a few.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I think quite a few. Yeah, there's some very good cards in here. We never talk about it, but Ramunap Excavator, the Crucible on a creature,
Crucible on a stick.
What a great card! I'm so happy they printed that.
I'm a big fan of Hour of Promise, letting us tutor up any 2 lands, not just basics.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyways,
I'll never get the zombies in Commander, but who cares?
Who cares? But it's been neat and it's been fun. So we've been doing that a lot lately. You also though played in real life. One of those 3-0s was in a live draft.
I went to an LGS to this more. So it's we're recording on Labor Day, which is the holiday in Canada. I think there's an equivalent holiday in America right now.
Yeah, dude, it's called Labor Day.
Oh, it's the same thing?
Yeah.
Which is the one we have, but which is our equivalent of Columbus Day? Is it Victoria Day?
I was going to say, like, maybe it's May 2-4. Like, when's Columbus Day? I don't even know when that is.
I don't even know. Anyway, on Canadian holidays, one of the LGSs does draft till you drop, single a limb drafts. It's very much like a GP. I entered one of those first thing in the morning because I wanted to have time to get one in and record this episode. But as it stands, most of the people in the draft, you know, were relatively new to drafting. And I don't think they were, you know, I got past some very powerful cards.
Oh, sweet. Okay, great. And then you crushed it.
I crush it.
That's sweet. I just got back from a camping weekend, a true long weekend expedition up north in Canada, up north like Muskoka region, if you're familiar with Ontario. Man, it was neat. I'd never really been like hard camping before. And this wasn't hard camping, I gotta say, actually. We didn't like portage in and have to like canoe to a site or anything like that. We did drive up. There were people around, but it was actually pretty secluded from the other spots, so that was neat. And it was a real beautiful place, and there was a big lake, and it actually was warm enough for us to go swimming one of the days, so that was nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, we had a good time. It was neat. If you haven't been camping, man, get out there and have a camp.
Did you boil water in a pot?
We sure did. We boiled lots of water. But I'll tell you one thing about camping that I am now, now that I think. tents suck.
Okay.
Like putting up a tent is like actually kind of the easiest part, especially now. Like current tents are very easy to put up.
Yeah.
But especially if it rains like it did the day we were taking our tent down, man, that's a real mess. You got to go dry this thing out. It's got mud all on the bottom. What a nightmare getting the tent down was, I got to say. So listen, Marmot tents, do something that makes your tent impervious to dirt.
Okay.
Because now I got a mad dirty tent that I got to clean out somehow.
Camping, 1 to 10.
This round of camping was a solid, like, maybe like a 9?
9 out of 10.
8, 9.
Wow.
Maybe somewhere around
Very
there.
little room for improvement.
It was great. It was good crew, good time. Played some games. It was fun. Also, just though, everyone did their own relaxing thing, which is exactly what you got to do when you're in a bit of a group setting.
You gotta relax in your own style.
The thing was, hey man, it's your camping trip. You do what you like to do, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Camping, 1 to 10 when you're a sniper waiting for other players to spawn to kill them immediately.
Camping. Now, if I suggest going hard camping if you're going to do it and just never move from your spot ever. Yeah. I always feel like that is that kind of camping is more on the other people in the game, to be honest.
I hate that.
If a person is camping,
it makes me so mad.
It just makes it easier to kill them next time. It should, anyways, unless the map is flawed, in which case, then it's the map guy's fault.
I just hate that camping by its nature discourages new players from playing your game.
Well,
it sucks if you don't know enough to know how to stop camping, but someone you're playing against does know about camping, and they're just like, dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. It's like, man.
But at some point, like, how many times are you going to run into the room where the guy is just sitting there? Like, just don't go in there. And then he doesn't get anything.
Okay, so is camping, I guess I assume camping means you're watching the spawn point so that they don't
that's
even
different.
Get to start.
Camping a spawn point that's different. But that's again, that's a flaw in the game. That's a flaw. Like you shouldn't be allowed. Like that shouldn't even happen.
Yeah.
If your game allows for that, that sucks.
That does suck.
Yeah. Then I agree. That's not fun. Don't do that.
On that note, this is a podcast about first-person shooters. We brew a new first-person shooter for under $50.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. It's Commander decks. It's Commander's Brew. We brew a deck for cheap, $50 or less. No card over $5 unless it's got to be in there. Brought to you by the wonderful sponsors, the Wizard's Tower and Ultimate Guard, sleeves and boxes. And let me say, someone thought my Ultimate Guards were another more premium kind of sleeves, and I was like, nope, these are Ultimate Guards.
Doesn't get more premium.
It don't get more premium than this. We are going to stream every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Toronto time. We're going to brew and brawl together the last Sunday of every month at 3 p.m. Toronto time. Lots of chances to see us on Twitch. If you want to see our faces, check out the YouTube. The next brew and brawl scheduled is sometime in September. I don't have that date.
Oh, I can pull that for you right quick.
While Andy's pulling that up, though, I'll say
24th.
one other... 24th. Sep 24, 3 p.m. One important date that we don't talk about a lot is... Not a date, a sponsor that we don't talk about is our patrons. As if you're watching the YouTube, you'll notice we upgraded our Commander interviews at the end, our comedy improv interviews. Major upgrades, thanks to the patrons. And because of your patronage, we're able to do that kind of stuff. So we're super grateful for that. Sometimes we gloss it over, but I want to make extra special that we really care about you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. Well, let's make the people who post on YouTube the times that we start doing the deck tech. Let's make it now.
No, not yet, because we gotta hear an ad first.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. They can't do that yet. Guess what? Maybe I just fooled you. Okay, yeah, let's get an ad from the Wizard's Tower right now.
Hello, it's me, the office assistant to the scion to the Dragon. I can just tell you that it is a great time to be a dragon with Draconic Domination out as a C17 product. this is a real special time. It's a lot more work for me, as the office assistant to the scion to the dragon. There's a lot of responsibilities, including always making sure that there's a lot of apples and oranges stocked. The scion of the dragon really loves those things. I gotta make sure that the automatic espresso machine has enough pods in them. Hazelnut and French vanilla. The scion of the dragon has a sweet tooth. And I make sure I bookmark the Wizard's Tower, wizardtower.com. When scion of the dragon buys magic cards, it likes to get them from there because they can use coupon code Tower of Brews to get 5% off. Not to mention, if the order is $15 or more in singles, it's free shipping to Canada or the United States. The Scion of the Dragon does a lot of business trips and often wants its cards forwarded somewhere like, Oregon or Wisconsin or Saskatchewan, somewhere like that, and free shipping is much appreciated. Not to mention, there's 3% kickback on every order to use for your next order. What a great deal. Anyway, I better get back to my job because I know that the scion to the dragon is going to come back from its lunch break soon. And oh boy, I got to get a nice warm towel for it to put on its face to just kind of unwind in the afternoon. And as afternoon espresso, gotta go.
All right, there you go. So we usually open up the show with like a little segment, a little joke segment. We've been doing the Commander's Burn a lot recently. We actually asked for some cards you, the listeners, would like to burn as a community, as us plus you guys. And we decided to take one of the suggestions and we'll have some burns for it next week as well. So you guys can submit your burns with the hashtag Commander's Burn. And that card for next week will be Awaken the Sky Tyrant.
Yeah, thanks, Max Panicker or at Claw Reaper. Great suggestion. Yeah, do you want to read it, Andy?
Okay, so Awaken the Sky Tyrant is printed in the Mizzix deck. Just keep that in mind, okay? The Mizzix deck. 3 and a red. It's an enchantment that says when a source an opponent controls deals damage to you, sacrifice Awaken the Sky Tyrant. If you do, put a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield.
What?
Right?
What?
Why is this in Mizzix's deck?
So red would love an instant or sorcery that made a dragon.
Yeah.
White would love an enchantment that makes a dragon.
Oh yeah, I would love it.
Or an angel or something. But why is this a
Black
red
too.
enchantment?
I just don't get it. I just don't know.
It's wrong.
It's wrong, and it's quite bad.
And you have to sacrifice it even?
Well, I mean, that's how you get the dragon, but I don't know, man. Why? There's a lot of cards that are just dragons. I was saying, wouldn't it be sweet if, because isn't Sky, someone the Sky Tyrant, isn't that a card? No, it's not. Never mind. I just searched for the word Sky Tyrant.
Not in there.
And that doesn't turn up anything. Anyway, so it wouldn't it be cool if it was so-and-so the Sky Tyrant, and then this card tutors that card after you meet something, for example, an opponent dealing some amount of damage to you or something like that.
Yep.
That would be cool. Then you could tutor for the big dragon and put it out on the battlefield, and then it does something. Now we're talking. Now I would run an enchantment maybe that did that if that other card was good enough.
The awful reading between the lines that you've just discovered, Andy. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. This means we can never get a card called the Sky Tyrant because the Sky Tyrant is a 5/5 vanilla dragon.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what the Sky Tyrant is. So we could never get a cooler card called the Sky Tyrant.
Now there is a dragon with Tyrant in its name, right? So on and so forth.
There's gotta be. I'm looking it up.
Oh yeah, Karthus, Tyrant of Jund. Is that who it means?
Oh, that is a spicy dragon.
That's a real dragon. That's what I'm talking about. But he's a 7/7 and does stuff. The 5/5 vanilla Tyrant that we get is not. They don't look the same either, do they?
Yeah, this one's $20.
Yeah. Karthus is for real.
especially now that the Dragons deck is out there. Like, can you imagine? Like, if you're running Gen Man, you gotta spring for a Karthus for your sideboard, or not sideboard, but just your meta, because like when he comes into play, you gain control of all dragons, then untap all dragons, and dragons you control have haste. Boom.
Yeah, man, this is a great card to run against the dragon decks for sure.
This guy's the boss of
Yeah, he is.
Or Scion, or whatever his name is.
The Dragon.
Scion is the Dragon.
Scion of the Dragon.
Okay, I don't know.
And then there's the Dragon.
This guy outranks him.
I mean, yes, he does. Tyrant outranks the Dragon.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, okay, yeah, great. Karthus.
Yeah. Karthus. Okay, so yeah, we'll talk about Awaken the Sky Tyrant in some more detail coming up in the next week.
Yeah, get those burns in on Twitter using the hashtag #CommandersBurn.
That's right. Cool. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's get in. Let's talk about this deck rather.
Yes. Okay. The deck we are brewing is brewed around O-Kagachi Vengeful Kami. This is one of the like secondary commanders that came in the Draconic Domination precon deck. As we mentioned, Dragon is very eminence, very dragon-based. It's hard to do much with him that isn't dragon-based. Not entirely true. You could take advantage of his dropping permanence ability, but O-Kagachi doesn't need to be a dragon. We're just going to take advantage of its 5-color nature. It costs 1 Wooburg, so 1 white, blue, black, red, green. O-Kagachi is a 6/6 flying trample dragon spirit. Whenever O-Kagachi Vengeful Kami deals combat damage to a player, if that player attacked you during his or her last turn, exile target non-land permanent that player controls. So, yeah, I nicknamed this deck the Big Brawl. So I want to do everything I can to inspire as much attacking as possible, or to force attacking, so that people have to attack people, but probably not me, because O-Kagachi gonna get you back. I'm gonna take something away of yours.
That's right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you, Sean Tavares, have brewed a deck on this very show that was reminiscent of something like this. Why don't you tell me about that?
Yes. So you might recall the Group Thug deck that I was all about, which is the same idea. It makes everyone attack, but it doesn't let them attack you, or it disincentivizes them to attack you. Kynaios and Tiro was the commander of that, because they're sort of group huggy in the sense that they let everyone draw more cards, and they let you draw more cards, and they let you ramp a bit more. But in the end, those are 4 good colors. O-Kagachi takes away the group hug part and just brings in the punishment part, and you get the access to the 5th color, which is black in this case. So I looked at it as an upgrade to that deck by adding black. I'm not going to present the deck that way as a straight upgrade. I think you're going to want to start from scratch anyway, because we want to focus on different things slightly, but definitely similar in tone. It's like the bigger, more aggressive version of that deck. Less hug, more thug.
More thug. Okay, cool. Well, let's get rolling.
Sure. So, starting off, right, as I mentioned, we want people to attack, and we want them to attack other people, hopefully not us. So some of this is being able to notice, like, who's got creatures who can attack other people successfully? It doesn't do a ton to like make a little token attack if it's just going to die no matter where it goes. The key is hopefully they can't hit you, but they can hit someone else. So for that precision, we're running Shipwreck Singer. Blue-black for a 1/2 Siren with flying. And there's 2 abilities. 1 in a blue, target creature an opponent controls attacks this turn if able. We can use that multiple times, so we can pick 2 creatures if we want to just kind of make 2 creatures make that choice. Or we can do 1 in a black tap, attacking creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. I wish it didn't have to tap to do that, but it would probably be way too powerful otherwise. And that's a great way to just truly hose a bunch of creatures that are going to come to you. So in the big picture, Shipwreck Singer is one where you're like, okay, if they've got a 5/5, that can't get into me but can get into other people, I'll just make it attack. Because if I force someone to attack who will lose their creature, they could get mad at me and turn on me. This way I want that creature to live, just not attack me.
Yes. You know, I couldn't help but think, but Josh, I think, tweeted, Josh Lee Kwai, our bud, he tweeted something about, like, it was a new card, and it was something that messed with combat, and he's like, just another reason to avoid the combat step.
Disrupts decorum.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes. Yeah. And he's right. He's right in a way, right? Like, of course, like, yeah, the more cards they print that mess with combat, the harder it is to succeed in combat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I put out there that, like, especially in Commander, of course, really only in Commander, but, like, man, it's fun to mess with combat, and, like, so, like, mate, don't shy away from combat. Get into it, man. Get in there. Mix it up. And I know that that's just kind of opening the door for decks like this, but I swear it's more fun, you know?
Well, and I also think that, like, right, because what are you talking about? If nobody's doing combats, then it's just a bunch of combo decks.
It's going to be,
right?
like, basically combo versus, like, I don't know, control decks? So, like,
versus, or maybe more combos, right? Like just a whole bunch of decks without creatures. That's not how I like to play Commander. And also, like, even if there is one combo player who you can't affect, if they're not putting creatures down, then you just make the other player who is putting creatures down attack them. And the control/combo player has to keep wiping the board, hopefully spending their resources to do that and killing the resources of the other player with a lot of creatures. So, you know, we don't need a lot out. So, I mean, we're not getting there yet, but O-Kagachi punishes you for attacking back. And if we have anything that gives us haste on the battlefield, or even if our opponents are thinking like, well, you could cast it and give it haste in one turn and get me back, even from the command zone, just sitting there staring at the opponent, just being like, yo, I'm here in the clouds watching you.
Yeah, me and my numerous other snake heads are watching you.
Yeah, my weird balls of energy that are floating around my head.
Yeah, there's that too, right? Weird. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, Shipwreck Singer. I mean, it's an uncommon from what, like Theros? But
I think that's where it started. Yeah.
But I do like that. Ability. That's fun.
Yeah.
Next we have Warmonger Hellkite 4 and 2 red for a 5/5 dragon, flying. All creatures attack each combat if able. This is what you need, right? This is what you need. Get things rolling. Get things going.
That's what I'm talking about. Big brawl.
Yeah, and then it has the ability of one in a red. Attacking creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn. So those attacking creatures get a little, like, kind of bad fire breathing.
Yeah.
But it's all attacking creatures.
All attacking creatures. And
your opponent's stuff if they're attacking into your other opponents, all kinds of stuff.
That's true. So, and then just to walk you through on, like, you always play this on your second main phase.
Right.
Because you want the person after you to be, quote unquote, punished by it first. So all my stuff's untapped. Now, you, in theory, have to tap all your stuff. You either come at me or the other guy. Yeah. But your stuff is tapped. So now the third player probably is going to come at the second player because they have an open board, right? They go in that way. And then I'm left acting last. So I can just go whatever I want. And I can pump everybody up because of the ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, solid type of card if you are looking to mess with combat. You got to create combat sometimes, right?
Yep.
There you go.
And finally, I want to talk about Maddening Imp. This is an oldie. This is from Tempest. This is 2 and a black for an imp. It's a 1/1 flying, and it has the ability tap. Non-wall creatures the active player controls attack this turn if able. At the beginning of the next end step, destroy each of those creatures that didn't attack this turn. Activate only during an opponent's turn before combat. So basically, that's a really wordy to say everyone has to attack. And if they somehow do something... So one way you can get out of attacks sometimes is like, oh, I'll tap my guy for mana, or I'll tap to equip something. If they tap those creatures, they're not off the hook. They still will be destroyed because they were able to and they did not.
Yeah.
As long as they're not a wall.
This card's pretty good. Especially if you got that player who is playing a deck that doesn't want to attack, that doesn't need to attack to win, but he just has a couple creatures sitting there,
Yeah.
Right? This is great because they're just gonna. This even affects creatures that are summoning sick. Am I right?
At the
Non-wall creatures the active player controls attack this turn if able. I guess there's the key right there. If able, so it doesn't actually.
Yeah, I think so. Well, now I wonder if
Because they're not able to attack if they have summoning sickness. Because we've had this a lot. Because the original wording makes it sound like, and it's not this card; it's a different card actually. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Are you thinking Nettling Imp?
Yeah, I think maybe. Yeah. They're kind of similar.
Yes.
But this one won't kill summoning sick things, but it will kill things that, exactly like Sean said, want to tap and things. So that's a good way to get rid of those utility creatures.
I'm gonna look it up while. If you want to lead us into the next category or cards, I'm gonna look up that rule to see if that works.
I'm pretty sure the if able is what allows the summoning sick creatures to live.
It's the second. It's the second Google autocomplete.
Amazing. Okay, next coming up, we've got. We got to make sure once people are attacking either us or other people that our O-Kagachi can get through, especially if they've attacked us. Because we're going to get back at them and then exile a permanent if O-Kagachi hits. So, a couple of quick ways to get the big boy through there is one of them's Key to the City. It's a 2-mana artifact. You tap it you discard a card. Up to one target creature can't be blocked this turn, and then whenever Key to the City becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. This is one we've been liking from Kaladesh. It's
loving.
It's basically like equipment, but you don't have to equip it, but you kind of do because you have to pay 2 every time that you untap it. So that's kind of like having to equip it every turn. I'll be honest, I like it in decks like this where it's like you really need, like, it has to get something through. But I'm actually kind of cooling out on this card a bit because sometimes you'll have stuff in your hand and you're like, I don't want to discard any of this. It's tough, right? You'll need to find the way to use it, and then if you don't want to pay the 2, like, it becomes like almost like too many choices. Like, I'd rather just have something that makes them unblockable,
like a regular piece of equipment.
Yes, but that being said, if you're looking at your commander is the guy that you want to get through, this is gonna loot for 2 every time you hit something. So it's not bad. I do
really appreciate that. I really like how it's like that reverse payment. And looting, I think, is always very useful. I like to consider it, because we're going to get to exile a non-land permanent on O-Kagachi's Crackback. I like to look at it. It's like, would I trade any of these cards if, like, would like one of these cards to read exile target non-land permanent? If so, that's the one.
Yes. Yeah. It's actually rummaging. I said loot, but it's actually a rummage because you discard first.
True. Yeah.
There you go. Or if you can just make it that you just somehow tap and untap this thing, you don't even need to do the discarding. Yeah. What's next?
Sure. Next we are running Spectral Grasp. This is I don't see this card a lot, but I do think it's excellent. 1 and a white, it's an enchantment. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack you or a planeswalker you control. Enchanted creature can't block creatures you control. So it basically, the creature's not out, right? The creature's still fine. If it's your opponent's commander, they can still use their commander abilities. They can still attack and block, just not you. So there's a lot of these kind of enchantments. They're like, okay, then I'll just sack my thing in response. But it does enough for you, but it doesn't handcuff them enough that I don't predict people would just sack in response automatically, because the card still has value, just not to you.
Yeah, it still has value, and of course they wouldn't just sack in response because they still get to block things from other players and attack other players. Like, there's no way. You look at it and you go, oh, well, like, okay, well, you protected it from you, but not from anyone else. Like, this is the type of thing where it's like, it's basically removal, sort of, just for you. So like one for one removal is often like in Commander. It's like, well, you put yourself down a card and then you put the other player down a card, but the other players get to benefit from it. But in this case, it kind of actually is 1 for 1, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's actually true 1 for 1. Like, there's no one, like, you're down the card, he's down the card, but but no one else is really up a card because that card's still around for that. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a little bit immune from that criticism that you normally get from cards like this.
And I like to think of it too, like, so let's say an opponent's running Thraxamundar. So every time he's attacking, he's making people sack creatures. So I just put this on Thrax, and now I'm safe from it.
Yeah.
So everyone else at the table now feels extra pressure to deal with Thrax. Well, guess what? That's fine by me too. If they want to spend their resources to kill something that's not mine, all I lose is this 1 and a white enchantment in the transaction.
There's another card or even cycle. Maybe it's I don't know if it's a whole cycle, but there's definitely a white one. There's definitely a black one.
Oh, the vow of blank.
That's what it is.
Vow of Flight is my favorite. That's the blue one. It's not in this deck, but that's the best one here. If you want to pull that one up,
yep.
That was the
Vow of
best
Flight
one
is 2 and a blue. There's a cycle of them. You're right. It's the whole vows. They came out in the first Commander product. It looks like you enchant the creature. It gets +2/+2. So in the blue one has flying. You can't and can't attack you or a planeswalker you control. They can still block you, which is a significant thing. So you're just suiting up one of their creatures to help attack other players. Vow of Duty gives them vigilance, which is the worst one, kind of, because then it's still
so
around
bad
to block your stuff.
That one's unplayable.
The red one is +2/+2 in first strike. Black one, Vow of Malice, is +2/+2 and Intimidate. And Vow of Wildness is +3/+3 and Trample. And they all cost 2 and their respective color.
Since they all let the creature block you, like lightning is the worst because it's going to give it first strike, so you're never getting through anyway.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's a good way to tap down threats. Like this, like, okay, this threat won't bother you anymore, but it doesn't help you get ahead. Granted, if they're attacked, they're presumably tapped and they can't do anything. But that's why I picked Spectral Grasp over these.
Yeah, I agree. I think this card has more legs than those, and is interesting. I don't even remember. Like, I know we even did a Conspiracy 2 set review, and I don't even remember this card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
A good one. Next we have Brutal Horde Chief. Brutal Horde Chief is 3 and a black for the creature Orc Warrior. It's a 3/3. It says whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Then it says 3 and 2 Boros Hybrid, so 5 altogether. Creatures your opponents control block this turn of Abel, and you choose how those creatures block. This is a card I feel like it comes up kind of often in brews because it's fun. Obviously only in Mardu or more because of the 3-colored nature of it. You don't see it all the time, but when you do see it, you're kind of like, oh yeah, that's, you want to mess with combat, you gotta have that guy. But that second ability is very powerful. Like, I think even more powerful than I've given it credit for in the past. Like, you get to choose how? What?
And that doesn't even have to be on your turn. If person B is attacking person C, I get to make all those choices if I want.
Yeah.
It's so brutal.
It's brutal. It's Brutal Horde Chief.
And if you need to, this is another way to get, this is a way to get O-Kagachi through primarily because you just make them not block.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah. Good call.
Well, they have to block if able, so you have to attack them with 1 other creature, and you put everyone on that other creature.
There you go. Yeah. It doesn't say they have to block everyone.
No.
Right. They just have to block.
Yeah.
5 is a lot to just get a person through, but if it's also going to kill a bunch of things, that's pretty great.
I'll pay 4 for Rogue's Passage in a pinch, so what's 1 more plus extra?
I'll never forgive the creators of Magic the Gathering for not making this cycle of creatures legendary.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Brutal Horde Chief would be a fantastic commander.
Yeah.
Right?
What a great Mardu commander.
And, I mean, we don't need to talk about the other ones, too. The Jeskai one is like, come on, put that ability on a commander, please.
Which one's that? The Torrent Elemental where it taps
No, that's Torrent Elemental, I believe, is
Sultai.
Sultai colors, yeah.
Which is the Jeskai one?
Jeskai one is, oh, hell, I don't remember.
I can think of Shu Yun.
No, he's
legendary.
He's the one that turns that gives spells lifelink that do damage.
Oh yeah.
And then you
yeah.
can rebound them or
I
something.
think so. Oh boy.
You can do something where you get them back or something like that. Oh no, it gives them buyback. You get
Oh wow.
It's like tuna Jeskai for buyback or something like that. Anyways, neat stuff. Yeah, Brutal Horde Chief is great. This is exactly what you want, especially that 5 colors. This is one of the big upgrades that Sean was talking about when it comes to gaining black for the deck, right? Brutal Horde Chief is a very strong card to add to this type of thing. Yep. So O-Kagachi gets through easily.
O-Kagachi. Great. O-Kagacha.
O-Kagacha.
So we've talked a lot about... Oh, I got some rules on Maddening Imp.
Oh, right. Okay, go.
So it will work on Summoning Sickness. If your creature is Summoning Sick and Maddening Imp goes on you, you have to attack with it or you have to sacrifice it. Or it's destroyed, I mean. But since you have to use Maddening Imp before combat, just don't play anything before combat. Because any creature that was summoned after Maddening Imp's ability is activated didn't get hit by their ability.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Blinking your creatures in response also saves them because they're technically new objects who aren't required to attack.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, well there you go. There's a little secret tech for facing down Maddening Imp.
Seek tech.
Seek tech. Secret tech. That should be a new segment on the show.
Oh yeah, you should just do that for all of them because you have a great voice for that.
Secret tech.
That's great. With that giggle. Secret tech. Okay,
what's next?
Okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about getting a big brawl happening. We got a lot of things making everything attack. We need reasons why our opponents won't want to attack us, right? Anything we can do to incentivize them to attack other people is a good move. How about Guilt Spire Avenger? It's Bant. Green, white, blue.
Bant.
For Bant. It's a human soldier. It's a 2/2 for Bant. It has Exalted. So whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1. And it has the ability tap, destroy target creature that dealt damage to you this turn. So if our opponents want to attack us, they can, but we're going to destroy something that hit us at the end of turn. I'd also like to point out this Exalted is amazing on O-Kagachi. Often we only carry attack with O-Kagachi. So O-Kagachi then becomes a 7/7 flying trample. And 7 is that magic commander number where 3 hits and they're just dead from commander damage.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pretty sizable +1/+1 there. It actually gets you to a pretty important number.
Yeah.
Next we have a Spiria, Supreme Judge, which is 2 white and 2 blue, so 6 in total. For Legendary Sphinx, she's a 6/4, has flying, and says whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, you may draw a card. This might even be a better disincentive for people to attack you because they don't want you to be drawing all these cards. Nobody wants you to be drawing cards.
So. Yeah,
one thing I hate, it's my opponent's drawing cards. So you know what I mean? I mean, unless it's definitely gonna kill a Spiria somehow, I wouldn't do it. So yeah, this is a great one.
Yeah.
Speaking of like cards that I never really think about Spiria, but I like this card a lot.
Yeah, it's a great because it doesn't it's also a threat. Like it's 6 damage in the air. That's nothing to shake a stick at. So if we want to talk back to this where there's no creatures going around, it's like if our opponents aren't attacking us, that's fine. We're just going to hit you for 6 in the air a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta do something about it. But yeah, it's like, and especially when we're forcing people to attack, right? Like, what are they gonna? Are you gonna come at? Because I'll be fully honest. If once you make everyone attack every turn, sometimes people are just like, well, screw you. Then I'm just gonna come at you. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go. If I'm gonna lose all my stuff anyway, I'll send them at you.
Yeah.
It's like fine. But if you do, I'm gonna draw 7 or 8 cards, and I probably will draw a way to prevent all of that damage, or make sure. I have to redirect combat or one of my 1 or 2 fogs in the deck.
Yeah, this is I can attack you and people are going to attack you and they might kill some of your stuff because you'll eventually have to start blocking. But with a Spiria, it's like, okay, yeah, I guess I will lose all that stuff and then gain it all back because I'm just drawing all these cards. So,
Well, even if you like, I'm just assuming you're going to draw a fog and then just not block and not lose anything.
well, there you go. There's that too, right? So it either replaces what
Yeah.
you're losing or just prevents you from losing in the first place. So I think this card's a real winner in this deck for sure.
Yeah.
All right, what's up next?
Okay, next up is Marchesa's Decree, another conspiracy card. 3 and a black for an enchantment. When Marchesa's Decree enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. We all know that having a monarch inspires combat. That's what we want. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses 1 life. Yeah. It's not a huge price to pay, but I think this is my favorite way to get the monarch going in this deck.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the Monarch is something that incentivizes attacks, and anything that brings the Monarch in is going to do that. So this is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not surprising that there's a lot of conspiracy cards in this deck, because that's the place.
Conspiracy's all about it.
That's the place where they can play with multiplayer, right? And they can have it be like, oh, there's a big 4-way game going on here that we can, mess with how combat works. Like, yeah, that's when they'll print those cards that do that. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Look towards conspiracy for that type of thing. And
do we know when the next one is?
I don't think we do. I mean, I don't. Maybe
I don't know.
the world does.
I don't know either.
I don't think so.
I don't
though.
think that's knowledge. Yeah.
I don't think it is either.
Yeah.
They might not even do another one. Who knows?
No.
Oh, and finally, our final little category here is 1-mana haste cards. And that's because those are the ones that will really come out of nowhere, and you can spring your commander on your opponents or another big creature for that matter out of nowhere, and they won't see it coming. And so you get stuff like Expedite, which is 1 red for target creature gains haste until end of turn, draw a card. Now, obviously, we also have other haste enablers that are permanently around, your boots and things like that. But these ones really come out of nowhere because they're not sitting there. Like, people can obviously plan for that kind of haste, whereas Expedite, and I'll go ahead and read this next one too because it's basically the same thing.
Sure.
It's Crimson Wisps, same thing. 1 red for an instant. Target creature. This one says target creature becomes red and gains haste until end of turn, and you draw a card. So they replace themselves, which is not bad. Like, whenever a card does that, it's, you're just gaining that card right back. And enables the haste, and it's a little bit of a tax you can pay on top of O-Kagachi and to get him in and surprise someone and exile a permanent and do, I don't know, if you have your Guiltspire Avenger, 7 damage, and then you're 1/3 of the way from killing that person. It's great.
Yeah. See, I like these because I'm running these instead of something like I forget what it's called. Is it Fervor? Like the 2 in a red enchantment, all your creatures have haste. Because this replaces itself. And if you think about it, O-Kagachi costs 5 to start with, and you're only going to need haste when you cast it. It's you'd have to be in a weird board state if people are always blinking your commander to take away the ability. I mean, if that's going on, so it's going on. You won't be casting O-Kagachi that many times, so you don't need to pay much to give it haste many times. And since this card both of these cards replace themselves, I think they're an excellent include. And 1 more tax is, it's 1 more, but that's what we're looking for, cheap stuff.
Yeah, when you're talking about combat and messing with combat and controlling it, the element of surprise is super essential. So the ability to pull haste out of nowhere is, I think, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
And they're cantrips, so they're, that's
why they're in there.
That's why they're good, right? Like, that's why they're fine to run. Like, I think otherwise,
if they weren't cantrips, I wouldn't think twice. I wouldn't look at them twice.
Right. Okay. There you go. So those are the main categories of what the deck uses and how it runs. But let's take a look at the best of the best, the 3 stars of the deck, the ones that really shine, really do what you want. Sean, why don't you start us off here?
Oh man!
But also, Sean,
deck, Sandworm.
Kill your video.
Kill my video.
Kill your video.
Okay, 1 second. Gotta get into. How do I do that? Skype. Video.
Oh wait, it's good again now. You don't have to do it.
Video back.
There you go. Yay. Okay.
Okay. Third star of the deck. Sandworm Convergence. 6 green enchantment. This is from Amon Ket. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token. This is a win con. This prevents people from attacking us. Just because a creature without flying can't attack, just because a creature with flying can't attack me, doesn't mean it can't attack other people. So when we're forcing flyers to attack, this is amazing because they don't even have a choice, which is what we want. And amassing 5/5 green worms eventually becomes a win con in and of itself.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen this card come out a couple of times since it's been printed now. We've seen it pop up in our little meta, and it's always something that people like take and are very threatened by. Like we've seen some blatant thieveries take this thing. We've seen, like this is like worthy of hanging on to your enchantment destruction and trying to get it out of the graveyard as hard as you can if you've already used it that game. Like it's Sandworm Convergence is legit, man. It's good.
Yep.
It's a very good commander card. And when it's worth building around in other formats, it's probably worth even if that format is limited, it's great in Commander.
It's a gumball right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like if you don't have one, or like just like $1 worth, $1 buy 4 of them because you're going
Sean's saying to buy,
and like over time.
Sean's saying to buy them for $1, get a couple of them because even if they only go up by a little bit, it's gonna be worth getting.
They're only a quarter now, so like if you spend $1 and get 4, I think you're doing amazing, and like you're gonna use them eventually.
Yeah, good call. Number 2 star of the deck is Assault Suit, right? Okay, so this is Sean.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is Sean and I going. We think this is good.
Yeah.
It's tough. I've actually never played with Assault Suit. I've put it in a deck, but I've never actually seen it out on the table.
It's tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky. So here it is. We'll just read Assault Suit in case people can't remember what it is. It's a 4 mana equipment, generic mana. It's an artifact. It says, equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has haste, can't attack you or a planeswalker you control, and can't be sacrificed. Okay? So, big +2/+2 to O-Kagachi. He gets haste. Bam. The equip cost is 3 also on this. So it's like not cheap. But also at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you may have that player gain control of equipped creature until end of turn. If you do, untap it. So right off the bat, you pump up your commander, you give it haste. It can't be sacrificed so that you can give it to other players, and hopefully they will attack someone that isn't you, and you can get even more damage when it's not on your turn, essentially, right?
Right.
The can't be sacrificed thing is great, and the fact that you can. The thing that I actually kind of missed and kind of forgot about is that it is a May, right? It's a May ability, so you don't have to give it to anybody.
Yeah.
So
if they have an attack where they'll attack it into a person who has a Death Touch flyer and they will trade, you don't have to give it to them.
You just don't give it to them, right? So there's that, right? Obviously the can't be sacrificed thing is crazy good.
That's the only reason it's possible.
Yeah, exactly. But otherwise, like this is, you're gonna give this to someone and someone's gonna be like, okay, fine, I'll attack with O-Kagachi. Like someone attacked me last turn. I'll exile one of their permanents. Like, of course.
Yes. Like and right, that's what I'm thinking. That might be enough incentive. To me, it's always been. I've never been impressed with this card because it's always like, sure, take my commander. It's like, fine, I won't do anything with it because why would I? I'm not going to help you win by doing this.
Yeah.
But when the incentive for them to exile a non-land permanent, it starts to become a little bit more interesting. That commander damage, it doesn't matter who controls this commander. That's my commander. So that's another hit on that player worth of my commander damage. So that also gets me closer to the 21.
Yes, it sure does. Now, do you think, because we've admittedly not played with this yet, in this
Not with
deck.
real life people.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
with dumb AI.
And that doesn't really, they don't do anything with it. They just
They don't do psychology.
Yeah. In that case, do you think that this disincentivizes attacks? If you put it on O-Kagachi, then everyone gets an O-Kagachi, and then everyone's afraid to attack everyone else, kind of thing?
I think that may be true, but I'll point back to like, Maddening Imp or Shipwreck Singer or making everybody attack. Like, hopefully if I've built this deck correctly, people don't get to not make that choice.
Right. Cool. Well, like, I think that this card is good enough that very specific decks want it.
I mean, everyone loves it in Zergo because he's indestructible and has to attack each turn. Like, he's made for assault.
Yes, he is for sure. But there's a handful of others that it works really well with too, and I think this is probably one of them.
I think so. I'm excited to try it out. I can't wait to resolve it and see what happens. I will keep you posted.
Yeah, please do. And also, if anyone else has any stories about Assault Suit, get them in, because I've never seen this card played ever. But it always looks like it, again, for the specific type of commander, it looks like, hey, maybe this is good. I'll try and run it and see what happens.
Maybe.
I've actually never drawn it
imagine
yet.
Who's the commander who attacks randomly every turn who already trades people?
Oh, yeah. I just mentioned this the other day. Ruhan?
Ruhan. So, I mean, the only thing he does to Ruhan is make it so he can't pick you. So I guess it's a little nicer on Ruhan, but then I don't know how it works.
Oh yeah, Ruhan would pick you and then not attack though. That's how that would work.
I just don't. Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's a waste of a pick. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, what's the number 1 star?
Number 1 star, in my opinion, is Finest Hour. 2 green, white, blue. 2 Bant. It's an enchantment, and it has Exalted, which we love on our commander. And also, whenever a creature you control attacks alone, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap that creature. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Getting 2 hits in with O-Kagachi, destroying or exiling 2 non-land permanents. Yes, please.
And on that second attack, he's actually going to be Exalted twice. Right?
Yeah, he'll be even bigger. So it's 7/7 the first time, 8/8 the second time. So at that point, one more hit and that guy's dead. So like, who cares about exiling permanents at that point?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyone who's played against a Rafik deck knows all about Finest Hour. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, man, this card's a beating in any deck that can run it.
Yep.
Right? It's awesome. All right.
I love it.
There you go. Number 1 star, O-Kagachi.
Andy, I need a bathroom break.
Okay.
Give me a sec.
Go for it.
I'm going to mute it, though.
Well, I'm going to leave this in the show.
This bathroom break brought to you by Glade Plugins. Not true. Not true.
If you got to make a stink, make a good stink.
Some air fresheners truly do stink.
But not Glade plugins.
No, Glade Plugins.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So do we have any surprises or discoveries for this deck? I believe we do.
We do. I really wanted to scour black cards because I wasn't able to use them before. And I came across one that, I mean, it's going to be situational. It's going to be meta dependent, but I've never seen it before. It's interesting to me. Treacherous Urge. 4 and a black, instant. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You may put a creature card from it into play under your control. That creature has haste. Sacrifice it at end of turn. Like, the potential of this card is very high because I get your ETB ability. You sack the creature, so you don't get it anymore. I get to attack with it if able, or I get to block with it if that's an option.
Yeah, it's all
dependent. Yeah, it's all dependent on your opponent actually having a creature in their hand.
Yeah.
But if you're against a player who you know is just like, like maybe like, man, if my opponent's sitting across from me and they're playing like Animar, I'm just like, oh, please. I'm sure you got a juicy Eldrazi in there for me to grab.
Or what about after a Cyclonic Rift?
Ooh, after a Cyclonic Rift, yes, please.
Right, that's great. Like you might take their commander this way. This card looks good for a Marquesa deck. The original Marquesa, the Black Rose. Like, get it on your side, throw a little counter on it. Now it's yours forever. Like, what a joke! This card's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool card.
I mean, it's 5 mana.
Possibly a blank.
Yeah, possibly a blank. The instant speed is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah, this is fun. I like it. It's a neat ability. You don't see this very often.
So I like to think, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here. I think there's more and more cards that ask us to discard cards. I'll go back to Key to the City, for example. Key to the City asks us to discard a card. Just as another off the top of my head, the new pull from tomorrow from Amon, or was it Kaladesh? Aether Revolt. It's basically blue X, draw X cards, and then discard a card. Mm-hmm. Anyway, a reason I bring that up is I think it's in our best interest to include several effects that ask us to discard cards so that we can look at cards like this and pretend it's sort of a living sideboard. Like, this card is, I'm intending to sacrifice this unless I have a great target for it. But if I think it's not going to be good, cool. Key to the City, bye-bye, Treacherous Urge, no problem. See you later. It's sort of like manually giving your cards cycling a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that, like, it makes these cards that are situational better if you can also use them as a cost for something else.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Because this is a card, there's definitely like a very high ceiling and a very low floor. Finding it on the floor, not
obviously
knowing what magic
knowing what magic is at all, just not even recognizing the game or any of the rules or any of the text.
Seeing this cool marionette cutting its own belly.
Yeah, I gotta say the art on this is crazy.
Yeah,
This is some dark art.
Yeah.
It's a marionette that's being puppeted with barbed wire.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have pupils in its eyes, I don't think.
No.
And it's like huge mouth open, screaming while sawing its own stomach open. It's pretty dark.
It's very dark.
It's pretty dark, man. Yeah, this is crazy. Stephen Belladin, good job on the super dark, creepy art, man.
Yeah, man. This is what he does in between drawing heavy metal album covers.
Yeah, for the band Treacherous Urge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some logic problems with saying that other cards are good because you can discard them. Like, I don't think that should be the reason why you put, you know what I mean? Like, I know what you're saying. It adds a different side to that card because you can discard it, but like maybe you shouldn't be discarding in general. I don't know. I'm sure there's some, something up with that. Because discarding is a downside, right? It's always a downside. If you have Treacherous Urge and you can't use it and you discard it, you're down a card. That's bad. It was always bad.
True.
Right?
That's true. I guess what I'm
but I know what you mean too. Like I get what you're saying, right? Like, yeah, there's something to that too. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's interesting. If you want to discard cards, I guess it like you can afford to do that a bit. I don't know. But when you want every card to be worth it, and then you want to throw like you want all your cards to be good at all times, which is impossible. And then that way when you have to throw it away, it's like you have to throw away my least good one, not my one that is stone dead nothing.
I suppose, but I guess in this case, I think the upside is like maybe it makes us consider cards with wider variants more.
Yeah, I think it's fun to have wider variants. So like I'm with you.
And having
it adds to the enjoyment of the game. The when you have cards that do stuff like this.
Because it's also looting, right? Like I mean, it does. We have to pay for it, but like the Key to the City, to use it as an example, that's a form of looting or rummaging, I suppose. Mm-hmm. So like that's great. I mean, I'm getting it back. I'm getting something I want better every time if I deem this to be not so good.
Right. Okay. That was the surprise discovery. I think this is a neat find. But let's take a second here before we get to the budget report. Let's talk about Wizard's Tower again.
Yeah. So I don't have the details just yet. I think the long weekend got in the way, but there's going to be, I think they're going to do something about the Ixalan pre-release. So stay tuned for that. They might have like extra a bonus contest or something. And we're going to give you details on that when we get them. But that's definitely something coming around the bend here.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, there's always the Wizard Tower. Our coupon code, Tower Brews. Get over there, get your singles, US and Canada. $15 or more gets you free shipping either side of the border on that one. Yeah, that's our gang. That's who we're rolling with.
That's who we roll up with.
That's right, Wizard Tower. WizardTower.com. Check it out. And go to MTG Canada. You can read articles from Sean and myself about Commander. Got a big review series happening on the true, like, only 3-color cards. And what have you been working on?
My latest article, which should be out tomorrow or the next day, is about game theory and how it applies to Commander.
Whoa, that's deep.
Yeah, I was reading some books on it, and I was like, there's something called the Truel, which is a 3-way duel, kind of like the good, the bad, and the ugly at the end there. Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't play out the way you might expect it to.
What's the Truel?
It's a duel with 3 people.
Oh, okay.
But the idea is, I mean, I'll just give you the brief version.
Yeah, give me the brief version.
The game theory example is person A hits 100% of the time. It's a shootout. Person B hits 75% of the time, and person C hits 50% of the time. Person A is coming in with the best score, the best ability. But if everyone knows how good everyone is, person C has the best chance of winning every time. And it comes down to nobody wants to be left alone with the best person.
Right.
So everybody goes after A first.
Mm-hmm.
And A is going to go after B first.
Mm-hmm.
And then C is like, well, I might not hit, but I'll get first crack back on the A or B.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's all about don't look like you're the strongest too quickly.
Yes. And if you've played any Commander, I think you basically know that. That's how it works. You go after the strongest.
That's why I'm kind of against cards like Rhystic Study, because it's just like if you get that out early and you draw like 10 cards before the game's really rolling, you're so like people are just gonna come down on you. It's not worth it.
I mean, I think it is worth it.
You think it's worth it?
Of course it is, because then you get the tools to handle people attacking you. Like, I
hope so.
Yeah, and you don't always, but like at the same time, like people can come at you, you can get attacked, you can go down. Someone's going to handle your Rhystic Study eventually, but then you still have all the tools, right? Like once they take out your Rhystic Study, they generally are like, okay, now that's under control. Now let's look at who else is doing well, because everybody else isn't doing nothing, right?
True.
Right?
We're all coming after Rhystic Study.
But then I already got those extra 10 cards, and I'm laughing.
Well, I mean, if you're laughing too loud, we're still coming at you.
It's a constantly moving battlefield, though. That's the other thing, right? It's not a vacuum. It's not one player doing one thing. It's like everybody doing other things. So if you get rid of one player's Rhystic Study, then here comes someone else who's put a Consecrated Sphinx down, or someone else has Mentor the Meek and they just made 10 tokens and they've got all this mana. You know what I mean? It's always something, and then it's always something stealing people's attention, right? And the spotlight. And if you can just shirk the spotlight once in a while when you should have it, that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
But it sounds like you're playing right into the flawed logic of the game theory, because the person with the most chance of win is that last place person who, Rhystic Study goes and everyone turns on them a bit, and then they deal with it, and then someone else does something and everyone turns on them a bit, and here you are just amassing resources and amassing cards.
But that's just saying that
that's
just saying that good cards aren't worth it. Good cards are too good. But that's not the case. Sometimes you just get the good cards and you just win.
Sometimes you do. Person A does have a percentage chance of winning, but
what I'm saying is that you have to look like the 50% guy while being the 100% guy. That's
right. That's what it's all about. But Rhystic Study doesn't make you look like the 50% guy.
That's true. On its own, in a vacuum, it doesn't. But if you are legit in last place and you play that card,
that could be your comeback.
That's great, right?
But this is why, I mean, you should read the article. But this is where game theory steps in. If you're in third place, you should let 1 and 2 duke it out.
Always. Oh, definitely.
So then when Rhystic Study person A eventually knocks out person B, then you're like, okay, all this stuff I've been holding on, here it comes.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You definitely let 2 people kill each other. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah. So that's why, and like mathematically, person B has abysmal chances of coming out that one on top. So it's almost even worse to try to compete, but then come up short and then look like number 2.
How often would you say I am in the position of looking like the worst player at the table when we play?
It depends who your commander is.
That's true.
I think that's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
But
like, not all that often, right? Because people tend to come after me.
I think it has to do with like, I know our meta holds grudges though. Our meta holds grudges big time, which is another reason not to come out early, right? Like just like.
But I also win like, well, enough to make me like not hate Magic and Commander. Like, I feel like I win enough where I'm like, I win like, a good percentage of the time. I feel good about it. So like, I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's definitely the things you're saying. But at the same time, you got to play cards like Ristic Study. You got to play good cards. It's just the way you play them. You have to look like you're not good. That's the
thing, right? And so like, I mean, again, read the article, but I think like, so some of these cards are probably better off like, so if you can resolve Ristic Study on turn 3, maybe don't yet. Maybe like wait until someone like starts to pull ahead a little bit and then resolve it, right? Let someone else take that spot. And if 2 people have gotten into a brawl and they're killing each other, well, Ristic Study is amazing in a 1v1 battle.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very good.
So like if I'm in a position where I get to hold it until we're heads up, oh man, you bet I'm doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a long time to hold on to a card. And if you're going to say that about all the good cards, like you might not make it to heads up. You're holding all your good cards. How are you going to get there? You got to get there.
Because everyone attacks the next up.
Yeah, because I don't know if that's not exactly true, because they're stepping on necks, and there's sometimes people just need to get attacks in, so they'll attack the person who doesn't have anything, who's doing the worst. And then, like I was saying, like I came back from LA and was like played a couple games of Commander with like Phil and some of the gang at Riot, and I was like astounded with how often they just attacked the last place person, and how they were like, "Well, sorry, you're the only person who doesn't have any blockers. Like you're dead."
Sure.
I was like, "Whoa, that's
so this is right." So instead of Ristic Study,
normal,
right? What about a Stinkweed Imp, right? Who's going to come at you when you got Stinkweed Imp?
Stinkweed Imp isn't that powerful, so I wouldn't be threatened by that,
but
right?
That's exactly my point, but it also deters people from going like, oh, you got an empty board, I'll attack you because I got to attack someone. They're like, well, I don't want to lose my creature for your Stinkweed Imp, which you'll get back, right? I don't literally mean do nothing. I just mean like, don't do threatening things. Ristic Study draws hate, right?
Well, of course, yes. Lots of cards draw hate, and you have to figure out when to play them, and that's essentially what we're both saying, really. I'm just saying, don't wait till it's too late, like because these cards do give you these cards do give you an edge. They help you win. It's just a matter of when you play them. That is again what we're both saying, but yeah.
If your sequencing is such that you just play your best cards first.
Oh yeah, you can't do that.
You're not doing it.
No, absolutely. You can't just come out of the gates unless you have like the combo to win and you can do it in like 2 turns or something, and then maybe you go for it. But yeah, you're right. Exactly what you're saying, which is like pick your battles. Essentially, pick. You got to feign weakness sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah. Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
I love it.
Those cards are still good, and they're good for a reason. Okay. All right. Let's get to the budget report.
This is where we take all of the cards, make their wallets fight each other, and see which wallet still has money in it.
And one wallet gets to exile a permanent that another wallet has because it came after the one wallet.
Yeah. I'll choose your $50 bill.
Exile it into my pocket.
Yes, please. That my pocket is the exile zone.
So what's the total budget here, Sean?
I'm over by 46 cents.
What? This is the first time we've been over budget in a long time.
$50.46. It was so hard. I didn't want to make some big cuts. I probably could cut like $1, like a 50-cent card and trade it in for a 40-cent card. Well, that even doesn't do it.
That does not do it.
It's tough, man. This is to the wire, and it's hard to find some cuts. And I
also notice you're also over budget on the number of cards in the budget report.
Well, I did that because the first one is the commander, and I feel
Right.
like that's kind of unfair to like take a slop by it. But O-Kagachi's pushing $4. Actually, I think it's come down a bit since I brewed the deck, so maybe this is under by now.
It'll probably go down because you probably brewed the deck. Oh no, the cards were out when you brewed it, right? Like they'd
The
been
cards,
released. Like
they
the
had
decks had come out.
barely been released. Yes.
Yeah, so we're seeing some of those cards go down, which is great.
Yeah, maybe it's down under budget now.
So you're right,
Yeah,
it's like-
that's what I did.
It is
That's-
around $3.50 or $4 though, depending on where you look,
Yeah. Okay.
which is fair. Yeah, O-Kagachi. Obviously, the commander, you got to have it, but what's next after that?
Lightning Greaves, $3.50. That's a card that's only going to go up.
Yeah.
But it's too generic for an equipment. It equips for 0. Equipped creature has haste and shroud. This is perfect on the battlefield for O-Kagachi because they're going to sit there staring at O-Kagachi. They're going to stare at your Lightning Greaves and be like, well, unless I deal with those Lightning Greaves as soon as you're able to cast O-Kagachi and attack right away.
Yeah,
So I don't want to do that.
I'll say this: it was a big deal when we were playing and you were playing with this deck and you had your Greaves out, and it was like, well, O-Kagachi's just going to come down whenever it wants and smash into a giant 6/6 flying token. Because Sean didn't read the card well enough.
No, big mistake. Big mistake.
Lightning Greaves, always a solid one. $3.50. Next is Anger, coming in at, well, you can get a version for about $2. If you're savvy with the Commander Anthology version, but otherwise, this one's hovering around $2.50, $3. It is harder to get those versions sometimes, though. Sometimes, like that's a set that like a lot of places don't have quite as much stock in. So oftentimes you will just have to get the one that's $3. Even though
think
you
that's
can find
why.
it for $2.
I think that's why it's the price is set at $1 on these websites, because the website aggregates prices, and since most stores haven't had that version in stock in so long, they haven't updated the price.
Yeah.
So it's just reading, like if they got one of those today, I bet you they'd jack the price to $3.
Perhaps. So yeah, Anger. It's 3 in a red. It's a 2/2. It has haste. It's an incarnation, and as long as it's in your graveyard, and you control a mountain, don't forget about that.
I always forget about that.
Creatures you control have haste. Yeah.
Huh. Well, we do have basics, so that's okay.
Yeah. We like basics around here. So yeah, Anger, just a classic, just a great card.
Yeah.
Discarding, like you were talking about earlier, discarding is good with it. Let it die, let it block, whatever you want. It's great.
Yep. Third most expensive, actually fourth most expensive, not including the commander though. Dragonlord Kolagon, the one that sucks in Commander. But
what?
4 black-red for a legendary Elder Dragon, flying haste, 6/5. Other creatures you control have haste. That's why he's in here. Whenever an opponent casts a creature or planeswalker spell with the same name as a card in his or her graveyard, that player loses 10 life. That will almost never happen unless they're doing one of those like plague rats or those like
Shadowborn Apostles.
Shadowborn Apostles.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's an unusable ability. However, it's $3. You'll notice that all of the most expensive cards are haste enablers that don't cause you to, that you don't have to pay anything when you cast them. Or sorry, to get the haste, right? This is why I love Key to the City, although that's not haste. Right? It's haste for 0 mana. I was gonna say though, I don't have this in the card tabs there, but Samut right now, the old Samut, the creature Samut, is not expensive, and it gives other creatures you control haste, which is, as we're noticing, a surprisingly expensive ability based on all that stuff.
Yeah, wouldn't you just run this instead?
I run it in addition.
Oh, in addition. What about
if
you wanted to save that money, you could also swap Dragonlord Kolagon out for like Perforos's Hammer? Hammer or Perforos?
Yeah, that certainly could do it. I mean, I do prefer that Dragonlord's hits for 6 in the air. That's
you're right.
very nice.
Yeah, you're losing some power there for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, that's definitely something to consider, right? Like Dragonlord Kolagon does stuff, whereas the hammer kind of sits there and does nothing. So that when I don't need haste, like I said, you only need haste the turns you cast O-Kagachi, right? You don't need it after O-Kagachi's sitting there for a while. Like you never, like I'm not really interested in giving everything else haste. But now that they stack this well, my Kolagon gets haste from Samut. Kolagon gives other creatures we have haste as I'm casting more creatures.
Samut.
Samut.
I don't know how it's. I have no idea.
Do you know what? I can't get out of my head.
Yeah.
On one of the game nights from Command Zone, if you don't know Command Zone, you should give it a watch. They do gameplay videos on YouTube called Game Nights, and they had when Samut was out, like they did a block on all the new legendaries from Amonkhet, and Cassius Marsh, NFL player who also plays Magic, who they use as a guest sometimes, ran a Samut deck, and I can't get out of my head the way he says Samut. Like, it's a very quirky way to say it. Cassius, if you're listening, I'm sorry for the impression I'm about to do, but he could always say things like, "I'll tap Samut."
Samut.
Like Samut. It's really like, it's a bit of an accent in there. It's just like so funny to me. So I basically pretend I'm Cassius Marsh every time I say this name.
And is that how you pronounce it? Samut?
I'm telling you, I'm just copying Cassius.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea what it's supposed to be, but I'm always like Samut.
Well, there you have it. Cool. That's the budget report. There are a couple of things that if you want to reach outside of that budget that are very specifically good with this deck, there's a couple things that come to mind. One of them is Conqueror's Flail. We talked about this, I think, last episode too. It's 2 generic for an equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. Now, obviously, that is +5/+5 if you have O-Kagachi. As long as Conqueror's Flail is attached to a creature, your opponents can't cast spells during your turn, which of course is also great. Can't let them mess with your combat. Only you get to mess with combat, and it equips for 2. So this card is huge in a 5-color deck. It's great.
Like O-Kagachi becomes a 9/9? No, an 11/11 flying trample, please.
Unreal. Like, give that thing double strike and it's over.
It really is.
Yep. What do we have next? Oh yeah, this is a big, and that card is at $6 right now.
Yeah, Teferi's Protection, right? The most exciting card out of the new precons. 2 and a white instant. Until your next turn, your life total can't change. You have protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out, and you exile this. So this is more for those moments when it's probably down to 1v1. This is not amazing when it's still multiplayer because all of your stuff that says everybody must attack also phases out. So that extra opponent doesn't have to.
Good call.
But it is still nice to be able to say, you know, when it's a big brawl, when there's a lot of stuff going on, everyone's attacking everybody. It's nice to be able to say, you know what, don't mess with me anymore. Like I'm just gonna be out for a turn so I can do more stuff.
And finally we have, and that card's around $15 right now. It was as high as like 27.
Crazy.
A couple days ago.
It's very enticing, but like it's just like, ugh.
I stand by my original like impression of it, where I'm just like, okay, I guess for some things it's fine, but I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me what I'm wrong about this card. And I know it's expensive because it gets played in other formats, not Commander.
I think the exciting, and I think it is Commander that's bumping it up because
is it? I thought it was like someone was saying it might get played in Legacy or something.
I guess that's also possible, but the reason I think I've underestimated it, it's for combo wins, right?
Yes, it is.
It lets you set up a combo, and then the first time your opponents try to mess with it, you cast Teferi's Protection, and then they can't even mess with it again until your turn begins, and then usually you just have to get to your upkeep on your untap before you get to like win with your combo, and this is the perfect card to enable that.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing with combos. Like,
yes, for sure.
Undeniably amazing.
Yeah, undeniably amazing. I mean, I don't know. I
wish they put it in all the Commander decks that could have held it. I wish it was in Dragons, Vampires, and Cats.
Just in Vampires.
Just in Vampires. The one that arguably needs it the least.
Yep. Okay, and finally we have Waves of Aggression. It's a $5 card in and around there, I believe. Yep. 3 and 2 Boros hybrid. For a sorcery that says untap all creatures that attacked this turn. After this main phase, there is an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase, and it has retrace, so you can pitch a land and cast this from your graveyard for the same CMC. It's very good, and it's about $5, so it's not like super expensive, but you know, Yeah, it's this is a good card if you're an attacking based or want to mess with attacks. This is great.
Yeah.
It is a sorcery, so you can only do it to your own stuff. It'd be kind of interesting if you could make other things attack, but I don't really know why you'd want to do that. Anyways, that's it.
Wow.
There you have it.
I love a big brawl.
Yeah, you do. This is like your second or even third deck that like messes with combat, or at least version of this deck. Because then you start this off as a Jeskai deck, or is that am I thinking of a different deck?
You know what? This was originally
A Zedru deck, wasn't
it? Was it Zedru? I think it was.
And then you upgraded it to Kynaios and Tiro, and now you've
I've just been
upgraded it
adding
to
colors.
O-Kagachi. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the final. This is the Pokemon evolution. This is the final evolution.
This is its final. This is its mega evolution or whatever.
Yeah, every card available to me.
It started off as a humble goat.
It
It turned into 2 gay Greek dudes, and then it's a massive dragon with like 10 heads.
Yeah, man. Way to go.
Yeah, that's a cool evolution. I'm into that. Cool. Well, that's it for this week. Stick around and see the new episode of Brew's News, also known as our updated commander interviews, or upgraded rather. And otherwise, we'll see you guys next week, right?
Yep.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andy.
And I'm Sean.
And this is Brew's News.
Tonight, point counterpoint with Tygam and Tygam.
And welcome back to Brew's News. Tonight, a new segment, Point Counterpoint, featuring Tygam Ojutai Master
and Tygam Sidisi's Hand. Let's go in studio to the 2 Tygams for point counterpoint.
Thank you, Andy and Sean. Of course, this is the new segment, Point Counterpoint. I am Tygam Ojutai Master.
And I'm Tygam Sidisi's Hand.
Next topic, Cons versus Dragons. Point. Dragons are way cooler and definitely scarier.
Counterpoint. Khans of Tarkir had fetch lands.
Point. Dragons of Tarkir had dragons.
Counterpoint. Khans of Tarkir had 3-color cool commanders.
Point. Dragons of Tarkir.
Counterpoint. Megamorph was garbage.
Next topic.
Cereal first or milk first in the bowl?
Point. If you pour the milk first and then the cereal in, it gets less soggy.
Counterpoint. I don't eat cereal. Best Tetris piece. The long skinny one. Point.
The square. All the way the square. Counterpoint. Next topic. Should Wizards of the Coast create cards specifically for Commander? Point. Yes, or we wouldn't exist.
Similar point. Yes.
Agreement?
Agreement. Next topic. Best Halloween costume. Point. Sexy cat.
Counterpoint. Yoda.
Point. Sexy cat is easy to do.
Counterpoint. Yoda is a beloved pop culture figure.
Counterpoint. Most people too tall to be Yoda.
Counterpoint. Most people not sexy enough to be sexy cat.
I concede.
All right. Point. A bald head is easier to groom and maintain than a head with hair.
Point. I agree.
Next topic. What's better, Star Trek the original series or the Next Generation?
Point.
Nothing beats the original.
Counterpoint. Original series is old. Next Generation brought new and exciting ideas. Revitalize the franchise, if you will.
Counterpoint. No one better than Spock or Kirk on any new show from Star Trek.
Counterpoint, Picard, Data, Worf.
Picard half the captain Kirk is, please.
Counterpoint,
Picard a bit of
Tygam.
a snooze, thank you.
Tygam, counterpoint.
No counterpoint.
Picard,
this is uncounterable, this point.
Picard where it's at.
Oh, please. Come on. Kirk is Indiana Jones, but in space. Come on.
No, Picard embodiment of what
Picard is Indiana
Enterprise
Jones'
captain.
dad.
He does have the accent. I concede. This has been Point Counterpoint. I'm Tygam Sidisi's Hand.
And I'm Tygam Ojatai Master.
Back to Sean and Andy in the studio.
Stirring debate. Thank you, Tygam and Tygam.
I'm still not sure which one is which.
No. Which one is real? One of them just doesn't exist.
That's true. On our timeline, one of them should not exist.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you, the viewer, figure that one out. And until next week, this has been Brew's News. Keep brewing.
If you want to contact us, I'm at Sean Tabaris.
And I'm at Andy Holbone.
Send us an email at commandersbrew@gmail.com.
You can find out when we go live on Twitch if you follow us at twitch.tv.
And if you care to support us on Patreon, check us out at patreon.com.
And you can find our deck list on tappedout.net.
And if we forgot anything, commandersbrew.com.